Premium bonds are the UK's biggest savings product, with more than 24 million people saving over £132 billion in them. And it's recently come to my attention that more and more Muslims are investing in them too. Now, this product is already controversial. Plenty of people question whether premium bonds are even a good investment. But for Muslims, there's an even more important question. Are they halal? First, let's break down what premium bonds actually are. Because before we look at what the scholars say, it's important to understand how they work. So, premium bonds are a type of savings account run by the UK government through the National Savings and Investment Bank. You put your money in, and instead of earning interest, each pound you invest becomes a bond that's entered into a monthly prize draw, where you can win prizes ranging from £25 all the way up to £1 million, completely tax-free. Each bond has an equal chance of winning, so the more you buy, the more your chances improve. You don't lose your money, you can withdraw it whenever you want, but there's no guaranteed return. So if your bond numbers aren't picked, you don't earn anything that month. It's basically gambling, but without the risk of losing all of your money and the small chance that you might win a lot of money. So the big question here is, how many people actually make money from these bonds? And the answer is, not many. In fact, Martin Lewis, who's one of the UK's most trusted personal finance experts and the founder of Money Saving Expert, has already done some detailed analysis on this. So let me just summarize his findings. What he found was the majority of premium bondholders never win anything. Now, premium bonds technically have what's called an annual prize rate, which right now sits around 3.6%. That sounds like a guaranteed return, but it's not. It's just a theoretical average that gives an illusion of an interest rate, when in reality almost no one actually earns that. Here's how Martin Lewis himself actually explains it.
So you would think, wouldn't you, if you had £100 of premium bonds, with a prize run rate of 1%, well then over a year you would win £1. But you can't, because if you had £100 worth of premium bonds, the smallest prize you can win is 25 quid. And for everyone who wins 25 quid, quite a lot of people can't win at all. And in fact, for every £1 million prize out there, even more people can't win. So then, the actual truth is most people with £100 in premium bonds would win absolutely nothing at all.
So that's the reality. The 3.6% prize rate isn't what you actually earn, it's just the average payout across all bondholders that has been heavily skewed by a few lucky winners. So in practice, a handful of people win really big, and then millions of people win nothing. But it gets worse, because on top of not winning anything, you're actually still losing money every year to inflation, because your savings aren't growing, and things are becoming more expensive over time. And that's just the financial side. For the Muslims, there's an even bigger question: are they halal? Let's take a look at what the scholars have to say. According to Sheikh Mohammed Al-Ghafari, premium bonds are basically a loan that you give to the issuers of these bonds, who are the NSI. And because it's a loan, any excess amount received on these bonds, which is stipulated and sought from the contract, is regarded as riba and is thus haram. Mufti Faraz Adam, one of the foremost scholars in Islamic finance, has the same conclusion. So it's not just one scholar saying it, it's actually a number of scholars who have come to the same conclusion. So bottom line, they're not permissible. But also, as we've learned, they don't actually make financial sense anyways. So even if it was halal, I wouldn't put my own money in there. Which I think is an important message to make. Like, just because something's halal doesn't mean you should invest in it. You should make sure it's halal, so it's an option. But then you should actually assess it on its merits. Does it make sense? If not, it's fine. It's totally fine not to buy things that are halal. But the good news is there are much better alternatives that are also halal. Now for Muslims, the closest like-for-like alternative is simply an Islamic savings account. Your money is still protected, just like with premium bonds, but instead of relying on prize draws that you almost definitely won't win, you actually earn a return by sharing in the profits that these banks make on their investments. I have an account myself with Gatehouse, and there's many more providers such as QIB, Al Rayyan and KFH that offer them too, all fully Sharia compliant. And if you're comfortable taking on a bit more risk for potentially high rewards, you can also invest your money into these asset classes. There's gold, which has done really well over the last few years, and I've actually done a full video on how to invest in it, which you can check out. And there's property, which is another great long-term option that, to be honest, most Muslims are obsessed with anyway. And I'll cover that properly in a future video, inshallah. And then of course there's stocks and shares, and even Bitcoin, which is one of my favorite assets, which can earn you a much greater return. The point is, you don't need to rely on haram products like premium bonds that don't even make financial sense anyways. Instead, just use one of the many halal ways to save, invest and grow your money that we now have, alhamdulillah. So if you found this helpful, please hit subscribe and let me know in the comments what you'd like me to cover next.